The search continues for a missing mother of three from Massachusetts as her husband sits in jail accused of lying to investigators about her disappearance. No one has heard from or seen Ana Walshe since the early morning hours of New Year's Day. Her husband, Brian Walshe, is in custody accused of lying to investigators about her disappearance and about the timeline, and he has some legal baggage too. Prosecutors are saying that they found evidence of blood and a bloody knife in the couple's basement. Joining me to discuss this case is Darren Dake. He is the director of the Death Investigation Academy, and Joe Giacalone is a retired NYPD sergeant. Thanks to both of you, and welcome back to Sidebar.
Thank you. It's very
Thanks for
nice to
having
be
me.
here.
Darren, they say they found evidence of blood. This could be a cleanup job. They also said they found a knife with blood on it. So, how important are those two things when you look at piecing this disappearance together?
Well, obviously, once they find out it's human blood, and if it's come back to DNA is correct to his wife, then that is huge. I mean, at this point, it's speculation that it even belongs to her. But yes, if it's human blood and it's her blood, then everything he has said about where she's at and things like that obviously is a lie.
And Joe, they've been searching, or at least they were searching on Monday, some type of a trash transport area. It looks kind of like a landfill. I've covered landfill searches before, and they can tell where your trash goes. It's pretty fascinating to me that they keep track, they keep records, these places, of whose trash is dumped in basically what location.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's actually mind-boggling. I've been there a few times, and the details, and they can tell you exactly where something is and what section it is, and it can even go back years. So this is not unusual that they have actually had the location where the garbage was disposed of and what type of evidence could be in it. So yes, I mean, the sanitation department has unbelievable record keeping, better than I've seen in just about any other agency out there.
Also, Darren, it was kind of curious what they claim they found in an affidavit, that there is video of Brian Walsh purchasing tape, duct tape or something like that, $450 worth of cleaning products. I mean, your wife goes missing and you're stopping at the Home Depot to pick up all of this stuff. Powerful pieces of circumstantial evidence when you're trying to piece together what potentially happened.
Yeah, absolutely. And we see that in a lot of cases, actually, where someone, it's harder to get rid of a body than people might think. And then trying to buy cleaning supplies and things like that. We're in a video world. Everything we do is tracked. Our location is tracked. Everything's on video. And yes, if he's bought that much cleaning supplies, there's a reason why. And again, circumstantial, but really points towards the bad.
Joe, where do you go from here? We have the search of the landfill. It looked like there were some items seized, and obviously they'll look through that stuff, they'll test it. But where do you go from here? The CNN is reporting that there were computer searches from Brian Walsh on how to dismember a 115-pound woman's body. Uh, but he's not talking, it appears. He's in jail. He's also accused of basically violating the terms of his, incarceration or his, home detention, because he is awaiting sentencing on a federal crime involving some fake Andy Warhol paintings. So this is a guy who was already in some hot water. But how do we go about figuring out exactly what happened to Ana Walsh?
Well, they're going to continue going down the path of cell phone records, internet records, and video surveillance, right? So they only told us really about the video surveillance that they had of him at the Home Depot. I'm sure there are other types of video surveillance that they have found on him. The next thing that I would do is I would end up going back to the house and the grounds that the house is located on with a warrant and go through the entire place again. Generally, when you have these missing persons cases, you always start with the home and then work yourself out of, out in so much of a circular fashion, just like a rock thrown in a lake, right? The ripple effect kind of thing. So, it wouldn't be unusual if they find her close to the home, right? Unfortunately, right now this is looking more of a recovery operation than an actual, location operation. So, investigators still have their work cut out for them, and I think in the long run, if they go down that road, they might even be able to cut a deal with him and try to get information out of him about where she might be located.
It seems to me, Darren, that looking at what we know so far, and we don't want to convict Brian Walsh, but there are some really bad facts here. Purchase of the cleaning products, the tarp, the tape, things like that. And as you mentioned, getting rid of a body is incredibly difficult. So I don't know, what else forensically they can tell from the basement, or is there possibly there's more? Is it possible there's more there that they're not revealing at this point in time?
Well, and I'm sure that there is, and going back to the internet searches, that's why I always advocate to take all the electronic devices in a home of a missing person or a possible homicide because of exactly what they found, and a lot of times small rural departments don't think about doing that. But as far as where it goes in the basement, you already have a bloody knife down there. Again, we don't know if that's a steak knife from last night's
Mhm.
dinner. We don't know what's blood's on it, but if he dismembered a body and use that cleaning supplies to clean it up. There's still evidence there in the drains, under drain lid caps and lids, and also there's luminol, blue star. I would venture to say that they know a whole lot more than what they're releasing to the public just yet. Because when you buy the cleaning supplies and you have the knife and you have a basement, I'm sure they have went through that basement already and has found more evidence. Because it is nearly impossible to clean up all the blood. Now, there are ways to get rid of all the blood, but most people could never, ever really do that.
Joe, she was reported missing on January 4th. It's now January 10th. So that's a period of 6 days they've been working on this. It seems like this has come together relatively quickly. They've been working on this. It looks like they must have had some, pretty grave suspicions about this from the very beginning. I'm wondering, just from what we know, he's, going to Home Depot and buying all of this stuff. This doesn't sound like it's possibly premeditated. Not that it matters at this point in time. This seems like something maybe, I don't know, spur of the moment. That's what it kind of suggests to me. Maybe something went wrong, an argument. I mean, if this was planned, it doesn't seem like it went very well, if indeed Brian Walsh is responsible for his wife's disappearance.
Well, when you have cases that revolve around the domestic incidents that happen between two people, I mean, anything could be the triggering point, so to speak. So, for a case like this, when you look at it, I think the last ping that she had on her phone was the second of January, right, where she was supposed to have left on the first, and that ping came back to the house, and
Mhm.
then the phone goes dead, and then on the fourth day she's reported missing, and I think based on what the investigators found at that point, they found it very odd and then launched this investigation into something more than a missing persons.
So, Darren, what do you expect to see next as far as taking those items that were seized from the trash and taking those to the lab? What do you think they will have found?
Well, so probably with what they have gotten from the landfill, they'll have it tested to see if they can find her DNA. Of course, the blood on the knife's going to be tested. Like I've already said, they're going to redo the whole basement if they haven't already. They're going to find blood there. Um, once they find that the stuff that they're locating is the tarp, the cleaning supplies, whatever they've got that they've got her blood on it. Then the question is, where's the body? And that's going to be probably a point where they officially charge him, and maybe through his attorneys, he decides to go ahead and tell her where her body is. I don't think there's any question that she's dead. I think again, we're not convicting him, but there's so much circumstantial evidence, and the fact that she's prolific on social media, and she's totally stopped being on social media and all that. There's no doubt that she's probably dead, but unfortunately, if he don't talk, it may be a while to find the body.
And it does certainly look that way. And it's incredibly sad. She has three children, and this was a woman, 39 years old. She's still a missing person at this point in time, but the circumstances do not look good. Darren Dake, director of the Death Investigation Academy, and Joe Giacalone, thanks so much to both of you for being here today. We appreciate it.
Thank
Thanks for
you.
having me.
And that's it for this edition of Law and Crime Sidebar podcast. It is produced by Sam Goldberg and Logan Harris. Bobby Szoke is our YouTube manager. Alyssa Fisher is our booking producer, and Kiara Bronson handles our social media. You can download and listen to Sidebar on Apple, Spotify, Google, and wherever else you get your podcasts. And of course, you can always watch it on Law and Crime's YouTube channel. I'm Angenette Levy, and we will see you next time.